It is the winter of 1982 in Antarctica when members of a Norwegian research station in Thule track down a mysterious spacecraft and a strange-looking creature buried in ice. 48 hours later, Dr. Sander Halvorsen and his research assistant Adam Finch hear about the discovery in Antarctica. They meet with Kate Lloyd, an American paleontologist who specializes in vertebrates, and recruits her to carry out an examination on the discovery. The next day, the three of them fly to Thule in a helicopter together with the pilots Sam Carter, Derek Jameson, and a crewman called Griggs. During the flight, Carter reminds them to finish their mission in a couple of days so they can avoid the impending storm. As soon as they land in Antarctica, they ride a snowcat on their way to the location of the alien spacecraft. The group meets the Norwegian station chief Edvard Wollner and his geologist crew members Carl and Juliet. Kate, Adam, and Dr. Halvorsen stare in astonishment upon seeing the top of the mysterious spacecraft in full view. Right then, Edvard explains that they found the structure after picking up a signal transmitting. He estimates that the mysterious spacecraft has been in the site for approximately 100,000 years. Shortly after, Edvard takes them to a nearby spot away from the spacecraft. He shows them a strange-looking creature, which they find frozen beneath the ice. In the evening, all of them return to Thule and meet the rest of the Norwegian crew, Olav, Peter, Henrik, Jonas, Colin, Lars, and Lars' dog. They team up and form a research team for the project, discussing how they will dig out the strange-looking creature from the ice, which Kate thinks will take half of the day. On the other side, Dr. Halvorsen reminds Adam to stay off the radio to prevent leakage of any information. They then discuss the creature's movements and possible scenarios on what happened to it. Later on, Kate gets up from her bed and stares at the sky from the window, unable to sleep. In the morning, the newly formed research team digs out the strange-looking creature in a block of ice through Kate's lead. They place the creature in a wooden room back at the research site. While the research team documents the creature, Edvard and Dr. Halvorsen arrives to check on them. Dr. Halvorsen already wants the team to collect a tissue sample, but Kate objects to his instruction. Kate explains that collecting a sample is not yet urgent since they need to conduct sterilization and other precautionary measures. Moreover, the research site does not have the proper equipment yet. However, Dr. Halvorsen ignores Kate's forewarning. The research team proceeds with obtaining the tissue by drilling a hole through the ice. When the drill pokes through the recently discovered creature, they collect the flesh sample from the drill and store it inside a transparent dish. Feeling offended, Dr. Halvorsen later confronts Kate in another room, telling her not to contradict him in front of the Norwegian crew again. As the day ends, the entire research team gathers in the station's recreation room. They set up an impromptu party, having realized that they have just discovered an actual body of an alien. Dr. Halvorsen delivers a speech declaring that the impact of their discovery will be felt for thousands of years. He emphasizes that they will all be remembered as the people who make the alien discovery. However, while the party goes on, the ice block which contains the alien creature is starting to melt. Griggs heads out of the station to get more drinks, while from a distance, Lars' dog barks and whines as it tries to get out of its cage. Back in the station, Jameson comes out from the bathroom and decides to take a look at the wooden room containing the ice block. For a while, he stares at the alien creature inside the ice block until Lars sneaks up behind him and frightens him. Annoyed, Jameson cusses at Lars, who casually laughs at him. Suddenly, just before Jameson leaves the wooden room, the alien creature growls and breaks out of the ice block. Seeing that the creature has leaped onto the roof, Jameson hurries back to the recreation room to notify everyone. He yells out that the thing is alive and has escaped the block of ice. The Norwegians laugh at Jameson at first, but shortly after they all sense his urgency. The alien research team goes to the wooden room and finds the ice block empty and forced open. Dr. Halvorsen and Edvard instruct everyone to search the entire research site in groups of 2 and 3. They are ordered to call out and not attempt anything on their own when they find the thing. One search party reaches the cage of Lars' dog, where they find a big hole along with spilled blood and fur. 2 members of the Norwegian crew, Henrik and Olav, are searching the nearby buildings of the station. The pair find the creature whimpering under one of the buildings. The thing looks like a large, slimy insect with crab-like legs, bearing gigantic sharp tentacles and mouth. However, just before Henrik can call out to the others, he gets punctured in the chest by one of its tentacles. The impact splatters blood on Olav's face before Henrik gets pulled back and eaten alive under the building. Frightened, Olav screams frantically for help, calling the attention of the research team. Carter and Peter attempt to shoot at the creature, but the rifle barely injures it. On another note, the gunshots make the thing squeal and jump inside the building. Out of other choices, the crew use kerosene and set the entire building on fire instead. In an instant, the thing screeches out loud and falls dead on the ground, with Henrik's legs still hanging from its mouth. Lars extinguishes the fire afterwards to prevent it from spreading. When the fire subsides, everyone in the station quietly stares at the building, then head back inside the station, stunned and distressed. Carl and Carter check on Olaf's condition, while Jonas soothes Juliet, who has been crying for the death of Henrik. Later, Dr. Halvorsen talks to the crew. He tells them that despite what happened to Henrik, it is their job as scientists to continue with their research on the remains of the thing. At this time, Carter arrives in the room and informs everyone that Olaf needs serious medical attention. He insists on taking Olaf to town and being treated in a military hospital. Meanwhile, Peter and Jonas bring back the burned remains of the thing inside the station. Dr. Halvorsen begins the autopsy of the thing, cutting it open using huge shears. Kate assists Dr. Halvorsen in pulling the thing's body further open, in which they see the upper body of Henrik. Juliet, who has been watching the autopsy with Carl and Edvard, gags at the sight of Henrik's face and immediately leaves the room. Griggs notices Juliet outside and offers his help, but she declines and sprints away. Back inside the autopsy room, Kate stares intently at Henrik, noticing that the tissue of his skin looks almost new. She takes out a titanium piece she found, asking Carl what it is. Carl tells her that it belongs to Henrik, who underwent a surgery after suffering from a fracture in his arm the past year. Kate then wonders why the titanium piece is out of Henrik's body and it was always inside his arm. In the evening, Kate is with Adam in the laboratory, studying a sample of Henrik's tissue through a microscope, seeking to find what the thing was doing to him. As it turns out, Henrik's cells are not dead. Instead, his cells are being taken over and imitated by the alien cells. Kate eventually theorizes that the thing is imitating Henrik. The next morning, Kate is walking in the hallway as Jameson, Carter, and Griggs prepare to bring Olav to the military hospital. Jameson and Carter talk about how the Norwegian research site has been creeping them out, convinced that they will leave the station soon. In the meantime, Kate heads to the bathroom, where she notices something bloody on the floor. She picks them up with a tissue, seeing 4 silver dental fillings covered in blood. Kate follows the dripping blood from the shower curtain and finds no one but a shower drain filled with a large amount of blood. Realizing that someone might have been replicated from the departing group, Kate hurries outside to stop the helicopter. Outside, Carter, Jameson, Griggs, and Olav are taking off when Kate aggressively sends out hand signals and stops them from leaving. Dr. Halvorsen, who is also outside, confusingly asks Kate what is going on. At the same time, Carter notices that Kate is flagging them down. His co-pilot Jameson urges him to proceed, but Carter decides to land the helicopter. Looking weak and dreadful, Olav asks them if there is something wrong. Griggs relieves Olav that everything is fine until all of a sudden, his face splits into 2. His chest also opens, revealing the same sharp tentacles and large mouth from the alien creature. As it turns out, Griggs' human cells have been taken over, and his complete being has been imitated. Griggs kills Olav inside, bringing the entire helicopter to fall out of control. Dr. Halvorsen and Kate witness the helicopter spin uncontrollably, crashing behind the snowy mountains as the explosion presumably kills all 4 of them. Later, the research team gathers inside, all confused. Colin tries to radio the authorities to report the incident. Unfortunately, they fail to contact anyone because the radio lines are cut off by the impending storm. Edvard identifies the location of the crash in a ridgeline, announcing that it would be impossible to reach them without another chopper. He plans to seek outside help, ordering Lars and Colin to ride a snowcat with him towards the nearest Russian station. Dr. Halvorsen, however, says that he is making a mistake asking help from outside because they could lose their discovery. Edvard, on the other hand, is more concerned with the safety of his crew members, pointing out that there have been too many deaths already. At the same time, Kate has just returned from the bathroom, where she discovers that the shower drain has already been cleaned. The tension between crew increases as Kate insists that no one is allowed to leave the station until they find out what is going on. At this moment, Dr. Halvorsen questions Kate for previously stopping the helicopter. Thus, Kate explains her findings on Henrik's cells, in which the alien cells were replicating them, saying that Adam saw it too, but he grows confused and does not support her claims. Kate continues, sharing her theory that the thing is alive, and it can replicate any organism. On the other hand, the thing cannot copy materials made of metal, which is why Henrik's titanium plate and the silver dental fillings have been ejected from their bodies. Kate insists that nobody should leave the station, suspecting that someone among them has been already replicated by the thing. However, they all refuse to believe her and leave the room, while Edvard still heads out to the snowcat with Lars and Colin. Only Juliet, the only other female member in their research team, stays with Kate. Juliet claims that she has seen Colin coming out from the shower holding a rag. Thus, the two decide to stop Edvard and the others from leaving the station. Juliet leads Kate inside her room, saying that she knows where they keep the keys for the vehicles. Kate searches the drawers and hears a squealing noise behind her, only to find Juliet's upper body splitting in half. The thing, which has replicated Juliet, aggressively attacks Kate. Kate escapes towards the hallway and stumbles across Carl, who is apparently in the next room. She warns Carl to run, but the replicated Juliet stabs him with its tentacle before he could react. Kate closes the door, locking the replicated Juliet and Carl inside. Soon after, Adam and Jonas arrive in the hallway, along with Lars, who is carrying a flamethrower. Kate carefully opens the door and they all see replicated Juliet sucking up Carl's cells. Lars then hits replicated Juliet and Carl with the flamethrower, killing both of them. In the evening, the research team makes sure to prevent the alien cells from spreading, burning both of their bodies again outside the station. Kate suspects that the thing appears like a virus. It instantly infects and assimilates anyone who has contact with the thing's blood and cells. Adam adds that, like a virus, they should isolate it through quarantine. As a result, the entire team settles on conducting a blood test to find out if any of them are infected. Kate and Lars disable all of their vehicles while Dr. Halvorsen and Adam work in the laboratory. Later, Lars takes Kate inside a storage room and he shows her a whole box of grenades. Edvard suddenly emerges on the entrance, startling them both. Nonetheless, he has arrived to tell them to return inside the station because the storm is already getting worse. On their way back, they see Carter and Jameson from a distance barely walking their way towards the station. The Norwegian members of the research team believe that the two of them are already replicated, claiming that it is impossible for a human to survive the helicopter crash. Therefore, Kate successfully suggests they lock both Carter and Jameson for the meantime, just until Dr. Halvorsen and Adam have finished the blood testing. Carter tries to persuade Kate into releasing them, but she remains unfazed, telling him that they are just ensuring the safety of everyone. However, as she and Lars go back to the station, they find the laboratory burning. Peter and Jonas extinguish the fire in the laboratory, realizing that someone among them intentionally burned the laboratory and sabotaged the blood test. The research team begins to accuse one another as Colin blames Adam for the fire in the lab. Without any other options, Kate suggests another possible test. She goes to check if someone among them has ejected anything metal in their body. Grabbing a flashlight, Kate instructs everyone to open their mouths. When Lars opens his mouth, she finds metal fillings attached on his teeth. She explains to them that the thing cannot imitate inorganic material like metal, making Lars human. Throughout the test, Jonas, Peter, and Lars are identified as humans, while they remain doubtful towards Adam, Dr. Halvorsen, Edvard, and Colin, who do not have any metal fillings. Kate becomes apologetic towards Adam, but says that she had to do it because of the risks. She later instructs Jonas and Lars to bring Carter and Jameson so they can check them. They go to the room containing Carter and Jameson, only to discover that the two have escaped through a hole. Jonas urges Lars to go back to the station, but Lars proceeds to search after the two. Lars heads towards another building, where he is forcefully pulled inside. Jonas sees it, convinced that Jameson and Carter have been replicated and has killed Lars. He rushes back inside and tells everyone what happened. Meanwhile, Peter is torn between helping Jonas save Lars and keeping watch of the four suspicious men with Kate. Just then, a glass shatters near the room, revealing Jameson and Carter. The two are armed with a flamethrower as Peter stands on guard against them. Edvard shouts at Peter, urging him to burn them already. But as Peter attacks them, Jameson shoots Peter on the head, killing him. The bullet also hits the flamethrower tank, resulting in a sudden gas leak. The gas reaches the flame at the end of Peter's flamethrower, triggering an explosion in the hallway. Edvard, who is nearest to Peter, is severely injured from the explosion. Carter and Jameson use their flamethrower to force everyone to gather inside the recreation room, including Edvard, while he is carried by Jonas and Colin. As soon as they enter the room, one of Edvard's arms detaches and changes into a crab-looking creature. It clings onto Jonas and attaches itself to his face. A large tentacle also sprouts from Edvard's replicated body, stabbing both Adam and Jameson. Carter is unable to fire back using the flamethrower because of the trapped air in the fuel line. Just then, new limbs form out of Edvard, latching onto Adam until their faces merge together. Kate manages to fix the flamethrower, but is too late as the merged thing has escaped outside. She finds Jonas being absorbed by the crab-like creature from Edvard's arm. Kate stares apologetically at Jonas before killing them both using the flamethrower. In the corner of the room, Carter is with Jameson, staying beside him until his death. Carter exits the room, giving Kate a go signal to hit Jameson with the flamethrower. Meanwhile, Colin has escaped inside the radio room throughout all the commotion. Later, Kate and Carter decide to hunt down and kill the merged thing. During their search, the two hear indistinct yelling from Dr. Halverson, who is already being assimilated by the thing. Soon after, they encounter the thing, which is now fully merged Edvard and Adam. Kate and Carter split up during the attack, and it chases after Carter in the kitchen. Kate enters the kitchen and successfully burns the merged thing right before it could attack Carter. The thing screeches and flees to the snow outside, but Kate thoroughly kills it. From a distance, Carter and Kate discover the replicated Dr. Halverson riding a snowcat to leave the station. Carter tells Kate to let him escape since Dr. Halverson will eventually freeze out in the storm with nowhere to go. But Kate insists that many people could die if he gets away. Shortly after, Carter reactivates another snowcat while Kate packs containers of gas and a few grenades. Kate studies Carter and becomes relieved that he is human after seeing a metal earring on his left ear. She asks him what happened to Lars, and Carter claims that he and Jameson did not kill him. The two follow the replicated Dr. Halverson as he heads to the location of the alien spacecraft. They walk into the opening, which suddenly activates, causing Kate to slip into the spacecraft's air vent. Carter follows Kate while holding a flamethrower, sneaking into the spacecraft through another vent. When Kate wakes up from the fall, she finds herself inside the alien spacecraft. She looks around for a while and discovers the spacecraft's core, which provides its power. At that moment, the replicated Dr. Halverson emerges behind Kate and attacks her. Kate runs and squeezes herself into the innermost part of a tunnel while Dr. Halverson's tentacles try to reach her. She takes hold of a grenade while the thing drags her out of the tunnel before tossing it into the thing's large mouth. The grenade explodes inside the thing, annihilating it along with the spacecraft's core. Carter arrives at the same time, and the two of them flee from the alien spacecraft. Back outside, Kate and Carter plan on riding the snowcat to the Russian station. Yet, just before Kate rides the snowcat, she notices that the metal earring on Carter's left ear is gone. Knowing that Carter has been replicated, Kate stays outside and takes the flamethrower with her. She tells Carter that she knew he was human because of the metal earring that he had on his left ear. Carter touches his right ear, making Kate even more sure that he has been infected. She blasts the flamethrower on Carter, who utters an alien screeching sound. In a daze, Kate rides the snowcat that Dr. Halverson previously used and drives her way to the Russian station. Sometime later, a helicopter lands on the Thule station. A Norwegian pilot comes out of the plane and shouts out looking for any survivors. Colin is revealed to have committed suicide, seated at the radio room looking dead and frozen. Lars shows up alive, holding a gun as he aimlessly shoots at the Norwegian pilot. Right then, another thing which has taken the form of Lars' dog jumps out from a glass window. Lars fails to shoot at the dog and it runs away from the station. Afterwards, he tells the pilot that it is not a real dog. Lars urges him to quickly start the helicopter, and the two of them chase the dog down through the snowy mountains. The film serves as a prequel to the original The Thing, released in 1982. The CGI effects are commendable and looks more neat when compared to its predecessor, which is expected. The film manages to bring up the sense of paranoia and distrust among the characters, something that is among the important parts in the plot. Also, the flow of the scenes is simple and understandable, although it has the tendency to be too simple, considering that the film belongs to the sci-fi genre. According to the plot, most of the characters are scientists, but scientific references are barely mentioned. Overall, the film may be an interesting starter to the faint-hearted viewers who find it difficult to watch splatter films but want to try.